we've seen prices go up by that percentage. So please do remember this, that if inflation does not go higher anymore, it still means that prices would be higher because they've already gone up the past few years. Hey guys, so in this video, let's talk about the rising cost of living in the Philippines. As you know and as you feel it also, cost of living has been steadily rising in the past years, and you could look at different factors to it, even COVID and even the lockdowns. If you look at it over the past few years also, we've seen how inflation and the rising cost of fuel and the depreciating value of the peso has contributed to it. And it's not just that this is something that hits Filipinos in the lower sectors of society, but it's also hitting the working class individuals and also middle class Filipinos, because when oil prices go up, when the dollar strengthens against the peso, have prices continually going up due to inflation, there will be a pinch in different sectors. And the goal of this is to show you what's happening, what's going on, but in a way also for you to be aware, for you to be informed, and for you to make the right decisions. But above and beyond that is how can you combat this, and what can you do as an investor, as a saver, as an individual to come out of this in top. Please do remember this, that we can't really control a large part of the economy. There are a lot of things that we cannot control, but there are things that we can control, and that's what I hope to address in this video, to encourage you, to inspire you to know what's going on, but also act on it so that you have the ability to live life at your own terms, so that you have the ability to win in spite of things being not so good in the macros. Here are some of the reasons why the cost of living in the Philippines is rising. I mentioned earlier about inflation. Inflation is basically the rate at which in the Philippines, inflation over the past years has steadily rose. But as of the time that we're recording this, in May 2023, we've seen it also somehow stabilize lower. And that's something that's very good. As of April 2023, it's about 6.6%. Please do remember that 6.6% is still a very, very high figure. It's still above what's targeted. However, it's much, much better than where we were a couple of months ago, more than a year ago. We are at a much better footing right now. Just to continue, it just actually means that looking at it from a year-to-year perspective also, we've seen prices go up by that percentage. So please do remember this, that if inflation does not go higher anymore, it still means that prices would be higher because they've already gone up the past few years. Second is, I've mentioned this at the top of the video, the rising cost of fuel. The price of fuel has been rising in recent years, and due to a number of factors, including the global oil price and the depreciating value of the peso, plus you have different wars that's happening also overseas, the rising cost of fuel is making it more expensive to transport goods and services, which is driving up prices. The Philippines is a net importer of fuel and oil, that the higher the price go, the bigger the impact it has also to the Filipinos. Then third is, as what I've mentioned at the start, the depreciating value of the peso. The value of the peso has been depreciating against the dollar in recent years. This means that it takes more pesos to buy a dollar. The depreciating value of the peso is making imported goods more expensive, which is driving up prices. To balance this off though, this is good for OFWs who are remitting money in the Philippines, and this is also good to the BPO sector as it allows them to become more competitive. Now, that being said, the rising cost of goods is putting a strain on many Filipino households. Many families are struggling to make ends meet. They are having to cut on their spending and finding it difficult to save money. And do remember this, that as an investor, we do know that the Philippines is a consumption-driven economy. As Filipinos continue to spend, the economy will thrive. We will see companies where Filipinos spend on to make money. That's why investors, businesses thrive and do well, because Filipinos spend their way. I think what will have a biggest hit here is that they will be saving less. They will be investing less. And in a way also, if they save and invest less, this will have an impact also on their families, because the older they get, they will be a strain also to people who are income producing, people who are productive. That's why we've been making videos like this, so that we educate you to set aside money, to save and invest, because at this point in time, it's becoming harder and harder to save and invest due to the rising cost of living. Here's the thing also, when you look at it from a business perspective, because things are more expensive, businesses, so that they could also meet whatever targets they have or also to remain profitable, they have to raise their prices. And in a way also, it makes them a bit harder to compete, but in a way also, it becomes more expensive for people to buy the same service or product which was cheaper before. Now, that being said, here are 5 tips on what you can do to combat the rising cost of living in the Philippines. And I've been saying this in a lot of the videos that it's highly important to create a budget and stick to it, because this will help you track your spending and make sure that you are not overspending in one area. Please do remember, a budget is a written plan on how you go about your spending, because it's never about how much you make. It's what you do with what you have, and a budget will help dictate that you don't spend more than what you make, and so that you allocate it properly based on the income that you actually have. Please do remember, the heart and the goal of the budget is that you have money allotted for spending for things that you need. You have money allotted for spending on things that you want, but you also have money allotted for financial things, paying off debt, securing that house, should you have a goal of securing that house, or saving, getting insurance, or also investing. Number 2, how do you combat the rising cost of living in the Philippines? Cut back on unnecessary expenses. Take a close look at your spending and see where you can cut back. Do you really need that daily coffee or expensive cable package? Are you actually watching your Netflix, or are you enrolled in HBO Go? So many things that you don't actually use or need. So the main thing here when you do your budget is you segregate your needs and your wants, your needs and your wants, your needs and your wants. The goal is to remove your wants, the things that you don't actually need, to focus on the things that you actually need, so that you operate well on a daily basis. But not just that, you get to have savings and investments for your future. Number 3, this is something that's very practical, but this is something that I think is very useful. Cook at home more often. Eating out can be expensive, especially if you do it frequently. Cooking at home is a great way to save money, and if you notice it, especially if you live close to the city or if you eat in restaurants, it becomes very, very expensive of how you would live your life. But if you start cooking, I do believe over a month's period, you'll be able to save a lot of money. Number 4, shop around for the best deals. Don't just buy the first thing you see. Take the time to compare prices and find the best deals. The way you would do things, I think if you would spend a lot of time playing around, watching TikTok, or doing things that don't help you save money, I think you could refocus some of that energy, time, and attention in trying to find the best deals so that you can also save money. Number 5, take advantage of discounts. Look for timings and areas in the month or in the season where you could buy things cheaper, and make sure to take advantage of them, because especially for items that when you buy them now, you buy a lot of it and they don't spoil, they don't rot. It's a good use of time, energy, and money as well. In conclusion, the rising cost of living is a serious problem in the Philippines. It's putting a strain on many Filipino households and businesses. There are a number of things that can be done to address the problem, but it will take a concentrated effort by everyone. By following the tips in the video, I do hope that this is something that will help you rise above the rising costs here in the Philippines, that it allows you also not to be sucked in by what's happening in the macro. Please do remember, you do control your own financial destiny. You do control what happens to your wallets, and by making wise financial decisions and by cutting back on unnecessary expenses, saving money, you can improve your financial situation. So to end, the rising cost of living is a challenge, but it's not insurmountable. By working together, we can find ways to make ends meet and build a better future for ourselves and for our families. Remember, you are not alone in this. There are many people who are facing the same challenges as you, and there are resources available to help you. So don't give up. Keep fighting and never stop believing in yourself, because at the end of the day, there's a reason why you're listening to this channel. There's a reason why you're watching this channel, because there's always hope. Hope is always alive, and keep on pushing forward. There's a reason why you're here, and there's a reason why you should never stop. And you shouldn't let the high prices that you're seeing right now affect the way you live your life. That's it for now. Marvin Gurmo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon. God bless you all.